What's the biggest story about the Wisconsin primary that's going to happen tomorrow, by the way? And this is something we should all be keeping an eye on. Is that this is going to be the first election in which Wisconsin's new voter suppression law takes place, is put into place. 23% of Wisconsinites over 65 years old do not have ID necessary to vote because they don't drive anymore. 23%. It's only 17% in aggregate of white men and women who don't have ID to vote, although 17% is pretty startling. But a lot of those people might be people like my mom. My mom, after I was born, and I think around the time she got pregnant with my brother Steve, who was 2 years after me, I mean, she ended up having 4 children in 7 years, 4 boys in 7 years. She quit driving, and she just gave up her driver's license. Now, she still voted every 2 years religiously, because back then, to vote, you just had to show your voter ID or show your voter registration card and sign the form, and they compare your signatures and go, oh yeah, which is, by the way, a biometric data way of verifying identity. But now under this Republican voter suppression, it's getting much more complex. 55% of African-American males in the state of Wisconsin, 49% of African-American females, women in Wisconsin do not have the ID necessary to vote tomorrow. 46% of Hispanic men, 59% of Hispanic women in Wisconsin do not have the necessary ID to vote tomorrow. 78% of African-American males aged 18 to 24, 66% of women aged 18 to 24 do not have the ID necessary to vote. This according to the AFL-CIO, by the way. You can read all this at aflcio.org. And then they've got all these different stories that point back to it. Plus, last week across 40 counties, there are DMV service centers that are only open 2 days a week or less. So only 60% of the state DMV locations are being open a handful of days before the election. So it's not only do most people, do about 300,000 people not have ID, but Scott Walker and his Republican buddies have made it much more difficult to get ID. Plus, when they passed the voter suppression law, there was supposed to be a part of it that spent a couple $100,000 or a couple million, I forget which, on informing the public of the ID that they needed to bring in order to vote. And that got taken out of the budget. So that's not happening.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.